Hello, beautiful souls. This week's Cosmic Current, we're arriving in that summer solstice on June 21st. This is in the sign of Cancer. This is a powerful portal into your highest timeline. So we're standing at a powerful threshold as that sun enters Cancer. And it's illuminating, right? That longest day of the year, while the moon is in Virgo. So she's offering grounding, discernment, and sacred service. Together, I feel these energies are inviting us to bridge heaven and earth and to bring the light of our highest potential through the waters of our being and anchor it into our lived experience. Because Cancer is a water sign, and we're going to dive more into the waters as we further expand upon how this solstice is arriving. So solstices have always been sacred turning points, right? It's the moment when the sun reaches its fullest expression. It usually is symbolizing the vitality and life force, our sovereignty, and it illuminates. This is also when the veil thins out during these seasonal gateways, and it allows us greater access to our own higher wisdom, our intuition, and the deeper currents of consciousness that are moving through both our personal lives and the collective right now as those planetary waves. So the solstice arrives amidst the continuing acceleration of this great awakening that was initiated as back when the planetary resets. And while many of our external systems are continuing to shift and dissolve and reorganize, we're being invited into a new relationship with ourselves. And it's one rooted not in control, but in what I like to call fluid sovereignty. The waters within us carry the memory of where we're going. These are our blueprints for this next evolution, and it's not outside of us. They're encoded within our actual own cellular consciousness. So the sign Cancer, it carries that emotional wisdom. It asks us to trust the intelligence of our inner tides. We also have Mercury and Jupiter here joining the sun, also in Cancer. So it's amplifying this message. Mercury wants to illuminate truth and communication and authentic expression, while Jupiter expands our awareness even beyond our personal concerns. It's a broader vision. It's a broader vision with being in Cancer of family, of community, our place within greater human story, how we even define our family, how we expand that into even our galactic beings, right? So we're getting a clear message here to see the bigger picture, to speak your truth, and to trust what your soul already knows. So at the heart of this solstice, we have the Sabian Symbol for that 0 degree to 1 degree of Cancer. And that Sabian Symbol is a furled and unfurled flag displayed from a vessel. In this symbol, actually, the vessel is a ship. So it glides beautifully, right, with our waters. So this symbol speaks of this profound point of commitment. It's a crossing of a threshold where we can no longer remain kind of undecided. It's right. It's like one flag comes down while another flag rises. It's like old allegiances, identities, beliefs, and loyalties that may no longer fit the person you're becoming come down. So then the solstice energy is asking us, what are you truly devoted to now? So sometimes growth really requires us to release these old flags that we've flown for years. It's not because they were wrong. It's because they no longer reflect the deepest truth of who we are becoming. This is a moment of reorientation, of sacred commitment, and it's to our future self, that's calling us forward. So beautiful. So with the Virgo moon, it offers this important balance to that immense Cancerian water energy. So Cancer says, feel it, trust it, dive in. Virgo says, ground it, integrate it, make it useful. So Virgo reminds us that spiritual awakening isn't about the perfection of it. It's about embodiment, and it's about taking all of those little steps each and every day. This isn't about, quantum leaps necessarily. We've actually been stepping towards it all along. So if we're not reflecting, sure, maybe one day it may seem like this big quantum leap, but you'll find if you get into some stillness, you will feel these small steps that you've been taking. And if you find yourself overanalyzing or overplanning because of that Virgo energy, or waiting for every detail to be resolved before taking that action, now we're being asked to gently release that need for perfect conditions, because your soul, it doesn't require certainty to begin. It just requires our willingness, right? Our choice to say yes, our choice to dive in. So this is where that solstice energy then becomes transformational. The waters are speaking really loudly to plunge in. If there has been a dream or a project or a relationship or a healing journey or a creative expression that your soul has been calling out to you or has been pulling at your heart or putting in your heart, this solstice is offering that confirmation. So it's saying that you do not need more permission. You do not need every answer. You simply just need the courage to take that next step. So the giant leap, that quantum leap you imagine maybe simple, maybe just, it's simple because it's simply just the accumulation of those thousands of small sacred steps that you've already been taking. Yeah. So you're further along than you realize. So the solstice download that I received, I would like to express here. As the light of the sun streams through your soul, allow yourself to remember that you already carry the wisdom needed for this next chapter. The waters within you hold the memory of your becoming. Let the old flags fall away. Let the stories of limitation dissolve. Trust the subtle current guiding you forward. Your future is not asking for perfection, it's asking for participation. The path will reveal itself through movement. With every small act of courage, every truth spoken from the heart, every step taken in alignment with your soul, you anchor a new reality into being. This solstice is your invitation to trust the current and allow yourself to be carried towards your highest expression. Such goosebumps. I also would like to point out that I like to look at these currents now from an octave perspective. And the octave perspective that I pulled from the deck that I created actually is from the Mythic Frame to the Heart Spark. So this is asking and inviting us into that 40 octave 4 of the Mythic Frame that helps us frame all of this, puts this in a kind of a framework so that illuminating threshold of that 5D energy we're trying to really embody, be it just that first octave, I call the heart spark, that's it. So in that mythic frame, emotions gather and settle into belief systems. It shapes the stories we carry, right, as individuals and even collectively. So this is going to stabilize the field. It's allowing these archetypical forces to endure through tradition, ritual, shared forms of meaning. And it's at the realm of sacred geometry, mythic law, and that quiet power of the archetype of the storyteller that shapes reality. Yet there's a deeper teaching here, and it's discernment, because learning that we can hold a story without being the story or even re-becoming the story, that's where we really honor our higher selves. And that's where we can really be more present to embody this new energy. So this octave will bring this coherence and an understanding and this ability to weave those experiences into a higher wisdom. Because those can be shadow, and they're beautiful. A shadow, hello darkness, my old friend, right? So, but we don't want to be rigid in that beliefs or those old inherited beliefs, identities, stories, loyalties, cultural myths, because yes, they guide us, but then they cease serving our evolution. They really do. The Sabian Symbol is really speaking of that through that changing flag, right? And that reorienting of our loyalties. So we're invited to question the stories we have inherited and ask whether they still reflect who we are or who we even are becoming. So stories do hold worlds together until they outgrow themselves. And that Virgo Moon does support this inquiry. And it wants us to examine those inner narratives and to notice where we may be over-identifying with those old stories. So we can move through this mythic framework and be guided towards that sun's illumination. And that's where love is waiting. It's always been there. It awakens, though, our perception of self as that heart spark. And it's not an emotion. It's a state of coherence. It's a frequency. It's that original pulse of living light that exists beneath every story we tell, or every identity we've taken on, or every belief system. And it is the remembrance of the I am. It truly is that I am presence, that generator. And that is where unconditional love ceases to be an idea. It's not an idea of unconditional love. It is the essence of unconditional love. So let this summer solstice shine upon this initiation, and let those waters soften those old narratives. And I hope that we discover that we don't need to force our futures into existence. We simply need to become just coherent with the energy. So, is the shift? It's a shift. It's asking us to shift. What story am I living? To asking, what reality am I seeding through the frequency of my heart? And in order to help us with this in an embodiment practice, you can take a quiet moment anytime, now and to the solstice and even after, and reflect upon a story that you have inherited about yourself, your family maybe, or even your purpose here, or even maybe whatever limitations you have set. And really ask yourself, is this story still alive? Or is it just simply become familiar? And when you do this, place your hand over your heart. Take those breaths slowly and deeply, and allow the story to soften. And then listen. Listen for the deeper truth that will emerge beneath it. And that heart spark, it doesn't ask you to become someone new. It asks you to remember who you were before that story was written. So I'll leave you, close out here with a soul inquiry and a blessing from the waters. So something to inquire with your soul about. If you weren't worried about it not working out, whatever you're manifesting or magnetizing, then what would you plunge into right now? Like, what would you just dive into? So you can sit with this question and listen. And the waters, they already know the answer. So all you have to do is ask. And the blessing we're getting from the waters for this solstice is, may you catch falling nectar with open palms and an open heart. May the waters within you remember what your mind has forgotten. May truth flow through your words, bliss through your being, and courage through your choices. May you release old allegiances with gratitude and step fully into the life that is calling your name. May the light of the solstice illuminate your path, and may your soul trust itself enough to plunge into the mystery. I thank you so much for being here. And if it feels like a spark in your heart, I would appreciate if you follow, like, subscribe, share, whatever feels resonant for you at this time. And much love.